So he let us trade with those two boys, and there was some boys, a lot of boys on there had more points than we did. They were mad because the captain wouldn't let them trade. And they told us to go out and sink a barge with anti-aircraft gun. And we went out there, and the man that was on the anti-aircraft gun didn't know anything about it. And he jammed it up before he got started good. And I told the captain, I said, I was in the armed guard, said, I know all about them guns. And he said, well, you show them how to do it. So I went ahead and loaded it up and unjammed it and loaded it up. And we sank the barge, and it had all kind of ammunition on it. And they'd throw a bunch of it over, and it'd be floating out there, and we had 30 rifles. Or had rifles, and we'd shoot and blow them up. And here come one right beside the ship. And the boy leaned over and shot it. And when he did, it went off and just rocked the whole ship over. The casing went up in the air and come back down and just brushed him. If he killed him, if it hit him, it just brushed the side of him and bounced off in the ocean. And the captain was coming up on the bridge. It just covered him in burnt powder and everything. And you talk about a chewing out, that boy got a chewing out. And we stayed there about a couple of weeks, and we got orders to go back to Pearl Harbor. And we pulled in the side of a submarine base in Pearl Harbor, stayed there a few days, and we got orders to go to San Diego. And on the way to San Diego, it was three patrol crafts. And we hit a storm, and we stayed under the water about as much as being on top. If you go in the wave, you pop out the other side for 2 or 3 days. And we finally got to San Diego. And I got on the troop train back to Norfolk. And we went through Southern Pines on the way back. And I told them boys, I said I could walk home from here. And when we got to Norfolk, I owed a boy $10 or $15. And we got separated. And I had his address. I told him I'd send it to him when we got home. And I happened to see him in the line over on another line getting discharged. And I paid him his $15. And I got discharged. I'd stayed in 28 months, I believe it was. And I got discharged before them boys on that LST ever got to Shanghai, China. And that just about wound it up, except for the highlights, in other words, of everything.
Didn't you go fishing when you were on the ship?
Yeah, on the tanker, the Merchant Marine put lines out at Fort Arthur, Texas, and fished to the Panama Canal and never caught a fish. They went in the Pacific, and they went to catching them every day, and they caught them dolphins.
How'd you fish? What'd they fish with?
They had a great big long rope, on a big pole stuck out on each side of the ship, and a big long rope. And then they had about a 12-foot piece of, looked like clothesline, about a 5 or 6 strand wire. And then they had a great big hook on the end of that, and they had a red and white forked canvas tied to that where it'd flutter. And they'd come up and hit that. And when they hit it, we'd be standing watching the gun tub, and we'd holler, fish on, and then boy, the Merchant Marine quit what they's done and run pull it in. And we caught them just about every day. A Spanish mackerel or something, and we caught a tuna that weighed 54 pounds. And the cook would cook them things, and boy, you talk about something good. tuna, they cut it in big old steaks. The white meat, you know, it was really good. And we went one day and we never caught a fish on one of them. And they pulled it in that night and it had a green snake on it. It accidentally got hooked. And it was a dragon.
Hmm.
And that's about it.